big, really banal office buildings, and that's kind of the direction I went. So it started becoming a facility. And so I started making these kind of linoleum tiles and the drop ceiling, the concrete block wall, the black and white tile floor.
She was like the texture artist for for most of the game.
Yeah, right.
It's just an overwhelming amount of work.
Originally, I was hand painting all of the textures, and you can really see a shift in some of them where they go from hand painted to photo reference. The photo references are much, much better. So I was all over Seattle, Harbor Island, Gasworks Park, getting rusty metal things. What can I get good pictures of that is vaguely industrial and interesting to look at? And then how can we use this? And so, sides of boxcars, and I don't know how many hallways in Half-Life are, the side of a train car kind of thing. The Kirkland Costco, a lot of time in the Kirkland Costco, getting just packages of, I don't know why I needed snacks or something.
The first year was all about opportunity, and it wasn't quite as focused. We were finding our footing.
We were getting into the 3 months before supposedly shipping in '97, and it's like, this isn't gelling. This is really not good. This is like, quick knockoff, cash grab, stupid, and let's not do that. There was a lot of disconnect between what all of the different groups were doing, what engineering was doing and what level design was doing and what animation was doing. We had a bunch of monsters that had no plans to get in the game because nobody else was assigned to work on them, and we had a bunch of levels that like, what's supposed to go in here? Oh, I don't know, everybody's gonna do a bunch of stuff, and like, no, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So here we were, all these people doing all these cool things, and just everything's just this random collection of, oh, here's a cool moment and a cool this, and and then it's gone, and oh, now on to the next thing. Because the way we were building the game was, every level designer was kind of his own silo, his own universe. And I think that just grew out of our, kind of mod developer roots, but it wasn't cohesive, and it certainly didn't have a strategy for like maximizing any of that stuff.
You must have been in the meeting when we reviewed all the levels. It was like the first time everybody piled into a room,
Right.
And Gabe had his crazy
Hello, I'm back, hello. I think we got internet again, we lost internet. Anyone still here or not? Hello, are we still on? Anyone still watching this? I'm sorry, the internet, we've been having, since we've gotten this internet, we've had issues. It's crazy. I don't know if anyone's actually still watching this. Anyone still watching? Hello. Hello. Anyone still here? This is a good time too. This is annoying. It's been happening in the afternoon ever since last Friday. We installed WoW last Wednesday. It was fine Wednesday, Thursday. Then Friday afternoon we started to lose it. And the same thing happened Sunday. It's always in the afternoon too. I don't know what's going on. They're doing something. I don't know if they actually tell us that to do anything, but we lost it again. Luckily, got it back just by restarting everything, but it's still annoying. I have no idea, Chris. I thought this WoW was going to be better than Spectrum, but I don't know. I know they're new to the area, so I don't know if this having service issues. Wow, WOW, like wow, like wow, can't believe this is happening. But I thought I thought they were gonna be pretty good. It's fiber optics, but I'm not sure. It's been very strange, losing power again, and I don't, especially with 3 gigs, you shouldn't be losing anything. It's weird too because I'm hooked up to the second router, the extender, to my computer, and that went red. That's why I lost internet. But everything in the house, I didn't have my phone, everything didn't have internet. However, the main router and modem was green. But once I restarted those, though, once I restarted everything, it came back, but it was strange. I don't know what happened. I don't know. It probably had to be something on their end. I don't know why. I don't know. Wish I did know, but it's annoying when you're trying to stream and this happens. I had a guy come yesterday. Yesterday morning he came because we had issues Sunday afternoon. It was the same thing. We lost it, everything. And he came yesterday, and checked everything out because shortly after we lost everything yesterday, it did come back. It was weird. But I still had a technician come Monday to check it out. He said everything was fine. He did a test and everything looked good, but I don't know. And it was running fine yesterday all day. I was able to stream with no problem. So I don't know, something on their end, being that they're trying to give them reasonable doubt, I guess, that they're new to this area and everything, where they put the I have to see I know the one in here gets hot, not the one the extender gets hot, but I don't know, like that this part, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to keep an eye on it. If it happens again to feel it, if it gets really hot, it might be the issue. But we just got it Wednesday, so we just got it last week. It should be new. They all came out of the box, though. I saw them taken out of a new box. Box wasn't like an old WoW that they gave us. It's all new stuff, but I don't know. I know the extended I have plugged to my computer, it does get hot, it does get pretty warm, but that could just be the WoW itself. I don't know. Might not be the best. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's warm. I wouldn't say it's hot to touch. Like I get like burns you. Just like can get warm, pretty warm. But we'll have to see. If it happens again, I'll make sure that we feel. I didn't think about touching the WoW. I just unplugged everything. We plugged everything back in. But next time, and hopefully it's not next time, but if it does happen, I'll have to definitely make sure to see what the WoW is, how hot they are. But I don't know if they would do anything or not. Sometimes they'll probably just give me I don't know if they'll give me the one around or not. They've been pretty good. I mean, they like yesterday we had a technician. It was supposed to come between 8 and 11, and they came at 7:30. So we still have Spectrum at the moment. We haven't fully quit Spectrum yet, so we could always go back to Spectrum. So I don't know. I mean, Spectrum had issues in the past, but they seem to have fixed a lot of this stuff over the years. But for the price, we'd be paying less. We'd be paying more we're paying more. We're getting less and paying more with Spectrum than we would with WoW. WoW, we're paying less for more. Yeah, Spectrum is trying to, I think, give people deals around this area because they know WoW is taking customers from them. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's annoying. But it's weird how the main WoW is still green and everything was still green, yet my the extender was red, but the extender doesn't really do much for the house. It's my computer, but the whole house didn't have internet, so that was weird. So I don't know why the main modem was green, yet we had no internet. So I don't know how it could be green if we had no internet at all at the house. Yet the equipment said it was green. True, but that would be a hefty bill. We're not going to do that because Spectrum would be over $100. To be like we're paying over $200 for internet, and I don't think so. Just to do that, so we just have Spectrum at the moment because it's the end of the month, and just to see how this WoW plays out before we committed to the other one. But the Spectrum's not cheap either. For only like it would be like I think it'd still be over $100. Well, we kept what we had. I think it'd be like $140. Yeah, it was strange. Yeah, the new bill they said for this month is only be $118 for some weird reason. But again, I think that's maybe because they're trying to compete with WoW. I don't know if try to give us a deal or not. But still, it was only $118. The $110 for WoW. You're looking at over $200 for just to have dopey internet. And it's not. I'm not going to pay for two internet companies. It's like for one to work solid. And I mean, Spectrum did have its issues, but probably last year or so, it's been pretty steady. We've had too many hiccups with the internet. It might go down, but it comes back real fast. Spectrum. I mean, in the past, Spectrum used to be really bad. We used to lose it, and you had to have people come in. So I don't know. I don't know either if maybe it's because WoW is new here and putting the new lines in and stuff. I don't know if they're just having issues. I don't know if they would say anything about it or not, but maybe they're just having issues on their end. But they just put the lines in like the week before last. They put the lines in around the area and stuff. You could see them driving around and putting the stuff in I guess in the ground on the telephone poles. So I don't know. We'll find out to keep everyone updated. It's annoying when you're trying to stream. It's like something that's stable, so the worry about losing it. But it is what it is. It really stinks. So anyway, let's get back to this before I lose internet again. So where were we? I think we were. Let's see who we were. Like this is where we lost internet. Does it have a ton of choices? I think it has. I don't think it's that many. I think AT&T come here too, or something like AT&T. Yeah. Well, not really. I don't think we have too many. It depends. See, where I live, I'm not giving out. You know where I live, but the area I live in is so big that some places only come. It's funny. Some places only go to one side of that town, not where I am. And that's the thing. It's so weird that way. Even though, so if you type in the town, only some of those places only go to one part of that town. Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be the fastest, it's the newest too, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, where I live, it's really only Spectrum and maybe one of the before WoW. Spectrum's really the only place that would come up to here. But it's funny, like a couple streets down in the town I live in, you get a whole bunch of other places that'll go to them. But you just go up, but after that, where I live, they don't. My street, they won't come to. It's very strange. It's only Spectrum. It's very weird. I don't know how it's set up that way, but it's very strange. Other parts of the town I live in have multiple choices, but where I live in the town, it's only like one choice. We had one choice beforehand. Very strange. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to explain it. Very strange. The Spectrum was like the only. It felt like Spectrum was like the mob or something. They only would take care of this area of the area I'm in, and with anyone else in. But if you go like down the street, another street in the same town, they would have multiple options. So I don't know. It's very strange. It's like a monopoly. So it seemed like Spectrum had a monopoly in this one little area for some reason. But I don't know. I guess I'm still on Mumble too. I guess I didn't check. Looks like I'm back on everything else. This is very weird and annoying. I also feel bad when I'm doing my Final Fantasy 14 when one with people and I have stuff like that happen. It sucks because you're trying to do a fight and I can't help, especially when I'm a healer, trying to keep people alive and I'm having internet issues. That's a big no-no. Oh no, I'm not on Mumble anymore. Shoot, I have to fix that. It's not showing on Mumble Studios. See, it's annoying. Let's see, how do I do that? Let me open new window. Weird, it came back on YouTube, but Mumble didn't do it. Studios. Yeah, just showing blank. I really don't like character. I really wish I didn't have to shade Mumble Studios this way. Oh, now I'm back. Ooh. Okay, now it says I'm back. That's weird. That's weird. It's not showing on you though. Let me see. Let me check my content. No, it's not showing. It's showing Mumble Studios I'm up, but it doesn't show it on. Yeah. That is weird. I don't understand Wumbo either. Wumbo's kind of weird. I have no idea if anyone's watching. Weird. I don't know if you know how to do that, Chris. Oh, I think it's disabled. I don't know what's going on. I understand. I don't know. See, I'm on here. But Wumbo's it's Wumbo's showing on my Wumbo Studio, but it's not showing on actual Wumbo. Um, I don't know if I have to redo it or this stinks. I do this all the time. No, it's not showing. I guess I'd have to end the stream. No, it's not showing. I guess I'd have to end the stream. I guess I'd have to end the stream. We do it. I guess. I guess I'd have to end the stream. That stinks. That stinks. Really messes. I guess when you lose internet, the Rumble Studios thing doesn't come. It's not like when I used to stream using this the way go Rumble. Rumble would just come back, would come right back. For some reason, Rumble Studios, that custom RTMP thing, you really have to like end it and redo it again. I'm still on everything else though. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, if when I won my Rumble Studios, it showed the picture, but just through Rumble Studios, it showed picture. It's very strange. I just ended it. I ended my Rumble. I don't know if I should just even try to. I don't even know if I feel like. I don't know if I should even continue with this or not. I was hoping it was gonna be a nice stream, watching finishing Half Life, watch a documentary, and now it's just gone all crazy. I have a headache. I hate that. I just want things to go smooth, and then you lose internet and everything just like puts a wrench in it. I could start a new stream up for Wumbo, but I'm not sure if I should just redo Wumbo again or what. I guess I could. Okay, it wouldn't be so bad if I had to use Adobe Wumble Studios. I don't like using Wumble Studios. I'm hoping if I get into the greatest program, I can just go back to using the Wumble that's built into the OBS, and then I don't have to worry about using Wumble Studios anymore. But I don't know. Probably not. They'll probably still make me use Wumble Studios. Invitation. Now Wumble Studios won't work for some reason. Invitation. this too. Okay, I'm back on here. Looks like. Okay, I'm back on here. Looks like. Hallelujah. 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 Okay, I think I'm back. Number. Let me know if they should be on live now. Thank you for anyone watching this poop show. Sorry for all this trouble. There we go. Took a second for Wumble to get live, even though I am live. Whew. Yeah, I just started a new one for Wumble. This annoying. I'm glad YouTube came back though, and Kick seems to be okay. I didn't check Kick, but whatever. I just started a new one. Okay, let's do this. Ready? Take two. Sorry for all this. I don't know what I'm. Anyway, so talk about the. It fell on one single person detection the whole game.
I grew up just outside DC, and so there's all these like big, really banal office buildings, and that's kind of the direction I went. So it started becoming a facility. And so I started making these kind of linoleum tiles and the drop ceiling, the concrete block wall, the black and white tile floor.
She was like the texture artist for for most of the game. Yeah. It's just an overwhelming amount of work.
Originally, I was hand painting all of the textures, and you can really see a shift in some of them where they go from hand painted to photo reference. The photo references are much, much better. So I was all over Seattle, Harbor Island, Gasworks Park, getting rusty metal things. What can I get good pictures of that is vaguely industrial and interesting to look at? And then how can we use this? And so, sides of boxcars, and I don't know how many hallways in Half-Life are, the side of a train car kind of thing. The Kirkland Costco, a lot of time in the Kirkland Costco, getting just packages of, I don't know why I needed snacks or something.
Oh yeah, I'm still here, so I lost internet after you was burned down. At least yeah, I lost internet, so I had to restart everything.
The first year was all about opportunity, and it wasn't quite as focused. We were finding our footing.
We were getting into the 3 months before supposedly shipping in '97, and it's like, this isn't gelling. This is really not good. This is like, quick knockoff, cash grab, stupid, and let's not do that. There was a lot of disconnect between what all of the different groups were doing, what engineering was doing and what level design was doing and what animation was doing. We had a bunch of monsters that had no plans to get in the game because nobody else was assigned to work on them, and we had a bunch of levels that like, what's supposed to go in here? Oh, I don't know, everybody's gonna do a bunch of stuff. And like, no, that doesn't work that way.
So here we were, all these people doing all these cool things, and everything's just this random collection of, oh, here's a cool moment and a cool this, and and then it's gone, and oh, now on to the next thing. Because the way we were building the game was, every level designer was kind of his own silo, his own universe. And I think that just grew out of our, kind of mod developer roots, but it wasn't cohesive, and it certainly didn't have a a strategy for like maximizing any of that stuff.
You must have been in the meeting when we reviewed all the levels. It was like the first time everybody piled into a room,
Right.
and Gabe had his crazy Hellraiser chair with the beautiful Mac monitor, and we played for 2 days. He played everyone's levels. But I remember one moment he turned around. He was like this with his hair. He's going, "We're gonna fail. We're gonna fail. We're gonna fail. We're gonna fail. We're gonna fail." And I was just like, it blew me away. I was like, "Oh shit, this isn't good."
We were doing our best trying to make this game and the story, and we had a schedule from Sierra, and it was a tight schedule. And we told them, like, we're not going to ship this, and we realized that you're not going to pay us to continue developing this, but we're going to do it anyway.
Late is just for a little while, suck is forever, right? We could try to force this thing out the door, but that's not the company we want to be. That's not the people we want to be. That's not the relationship we want to have with our customers.
And so Kelly and I kind of sat down and sort of tried to take an inventory of all the cool stuff we had built, and why weren't we just
Am I still quiet? Is it loud? It should be.
More on top of that, and
OBS says it's
those
pretty high.
discussions kind of led to us building this kind of design cabal process to try to give some cohesion to the game and kind of changing the way we were approaching it.
And so a cabal was a small group of people, multidisciplinary group. There's like an artists, level designers, engineers, and everything in that. And a small team that would write up a spec for a level. There was the arc that Mark had written, so we knew how that fit into the story.
Okay, that's good.
And we got a small group of people together, and we started at the beginning, and we went through literally what map do we need to build to tell us the story we're going to have to tell, and then what does that connect to, and what's the next piece and the next piece.
The strongest and most influential thing that came out of them was, to me, the sketches. And they were really the visual meeting notes, right?
We came up with a formula for how that worked. We had a certain percentage of the time where you were fighting, a certain percentage of the time where you're exploring, a certain percentage of the time where you're solving puzzles. And so we could apply that uniformly through the game, and that worked pretty well.
Testing.
Chapter 4.
Everything seems to be in order.
Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel.
The whole opening of the game was specifically a reaction to how all the other first-person shooters were, whether they had cutscenes or not. Like sometimes, like they would just open without a cutscene, but you're standing in a room with a gun and there's a thing attacking you. So we could look at examples of all that, and I think there was expectation that that's what Half-Life had to do because every other game was doing it.
I can tell you the number of people who started up the game, were staring at it, and then accidentally bumped their mouse and realized this is live.
Yeah.
And as simple as that sounds,
it's pretty cool.
It was mind-blowing for so many people because there was too much going on. This isn't real time. This is a recording, That
was sort of the way we, stumbled through a lot of the new narrative tricks. Was like, well, what can we do that you could do this in a movie or a story, but nobody's doing this in first-person shooters.
You're this anonymous scientist, and you're riding on this train into work and rolled the credits at the beginning. It was kind of like a cinematic experience almost. Like, I don't think games had really gone down that road. It's so funny to look at it now because it's so primitive, but at the time it felt like you were really in this Black Mesa world.
Pre-disaster survived from the first year, so a lot of that geometry was from that first version of the game, but in a very minimal way, right? Just the basic style of some of the hallways, the curved corners in the hallways, things like that. They more became sort of like Lego pieces that John could use and stitch together and extrude. And I know Brett did a lot of the raw geometry from pre-disaster, and then John did most of the work to ship it, and then the post and the train ride was all John, I think.
The Sector C, so those are heavily influenced by NASA control rooms, with my favorite green hammerite, really influenced a lot of like the starting. We started with the kind of the consoles. I'm trying to remember, and then there was just lots of hallways, and people were getting lost, and I did the color stripes to help people follow them places.
One of the things that was actually super exciting was how quotidian a lot of it really was. The lunchroom with the microwave You press the button and it would go splat.
My God, what are you doing?
Yeah, all this work so you can start a microwave and blow up some soup, which was a reference to real life, because that happened regularly. Like, we regularly accidentally blew up.
Laidlaw mostly, wasn't it?
There were a few people who were just, challenged with kitchen appliances, and at one point we had a company fire. we had a lot of things going on in that kitchen.
All of that stuff had a real kind of eloquence that in the late 90s, in a world where everything was so over the top, but we still got to go on flights of fancy.
Welcome to the HEV Mark IV.
I think like a super pivotal moment for me was when we came in this one morning and we saw the test chamber sequence that Kelly and John Guthrie and Wedge was in that office, and Dario Driller. They were all in this corner dark office where so much cool stuff happened. But so Kelly and John stayed up all night and did the test chamber sequence, and it's pretty much like the one we shipped.
I mean, that was a lot of what went on in that room that we called the submarine. It was just improvisation, just what can we do to solve this problem? How do we connect what's happening before to what's happening after? This needs to be somehow important, but we just don't know what to do. John and I talked about it. I went home that night and I sort of sketched out, maybe we could do something cinematic. We'll take the camera away, we'll turn the lights off, we'll do sounds, we'll just throw everything we can at it. We built that basically that day. It was just a sort of a one-day throw it together. That's how fast we were moving.
They had audio, right? We had the script.
Yeah, it's like the heartbeat and the breathing, all that stuff was in there. And I played through it and it was like, damn, I have not seen this in any medium, in anything before, experienced something like this, where this immersive experience of this actually happening like this. And at that point, it's like, okay, I see what it is we're doing. And it's this kind of immersive, unbroken experience that happens to you, the player. And then that was this key principle about how, we never take you out of that role.
Personally, the difference between before the disaster sequence and after the disaster sequence, I felt we really I had an understanding that this product was going to be special, or it was going to be possible, it was going to be tied together. Whereas before that, there was a lot of really good stuff and a lot of little things all disconnected. But you guys managed to tie two very different parts of the game together really well, and I thought, okay, now I feel like we're on a track for finishing this product. To me, it shifted my brain to have a lot of confidence that this product's coming together rather than just generating a lot of content that exists independently of other content.
One of the ways we were funding our development was we sold a preview copy of Half-Life 2, a video card company, I forget which one. And so they had in their contract that we had to deliver it to them by a certain date. And we got the first 3 levels done for them. It was really a good milestone for us, just from working as a company, because hey, there was a deliverable. We got it done, and we shipped it off to them. And then I swear the next day it leaked, and I was just livid at first, which was stupid. But I was just like, I can't believe you guys let this get out. This wasn't us, And then it turned into something amazing where people started playing it, and it was all over, and we started, seeing it, online, what people were thinking about it, and I forget which magazine who said usually we don't review, beta software, but they reviewed it and said this is awesome, and that gave us a tremendous amount of confidence. It was an outside validation of what we were trying to do, that it was the right thing.
I think just with first-person shooters already, they were kind of like the vowels of weapons you put into first person. You got to have a shotgun, and there's obviously a pistol. You need your weapon that's going to make you struggle and you drive you to get another weapon.
That was a lesson in how to make all of your weapons as orthogonal as possible, so each one did something completely different. All of the crazy weapons, those are my fault. So I did the rocket launcher and the Gauss gun and the snarks.
Attack you afterwards.
I like snarks. Snarks always made me laugh. It was just always funny to watch people run away from the snarks.
The squeak grenade.
Yeah,
It's
that
called the
was great.
snark, but
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted something, a little creature that you could bring up and
geez.
hold, and you
Maybe
could
this
throw
way
it
out,
out, and it
maybe?
would just start running. Because people were camping,
traveling?
and everybody
Oh, he's
hated
still at
campers
home.
at that point.
Yeah,
So you wanted the anti-camp weapon. But it was kind of, you could literally find a little hidey hole and just sit out there and just throw out 30 of them. And they're all over the map. I had a cat. And you'd sit there, you do your finger blue. Yeah, you do your finger towards him, and he'd get mad at you and he'd swat. So that was the inspiration for that particular animation. And then the other, that big alien creature with the, we needed some kind of alien weapon. Drew that one, built that one, animated that one, but that was also another one that would, whenever you could get in a corner and just shoot them in the air because the hornets would track. I think that was the biggest thrill, is brainstorming these with your crew, making them, building them, putting them in the game, and then playing with them, and then they're fun.
So there's sort of a trope of having a melee weapon. I think it was Steve Bond and Ken Birdwell and I were saying we wanted a device where the world was reacting to. It really goes back to that theory of fun. But we were just running around like idiots, smacking the wall. It's an odd thing to know in retrospect, but at the time it felt profoundly satisfying to be able to smack walls. And that was just an example of how that fairly abstract notion of what fun was ended up translating into a set of decisions that were really visceral. When you're going around whacking a wall, a crowbar is an obvious thing to whack the wall with.
Soundtrack music were created by a single person. He plays a wrote the code to create the DSP reverb effect. Also helped design some of it.
If the sound could let you know what's going to happen, that's really makes it powerful. So we're always on the lookout for that in level design, in monster design, communicating, because the AI is often hidden from the player. So we use the sound to broadcast the internal state of the AI. You know, soldiers, they tell you, I'm injured, I'm going to throw a grenade, I'm taking cover. You know, they are broadcasting as constantly as they can what's about to happen. So it was really important to try to keep those states distinct so that as you play the game, you're actually, whether you're aware of it or not, you're starting to be able to tell what's about to happen.
We knew he was a musician too, so he could do sounds, but you know, he also decided he was going to write the sound engine. And then he wrote the soundtrack. And he'd never written a soundtrack before, and he wrote the whole, soundtrack for the game, and it won an award, and it was crazy.
There just weren't that many of us. I had a little bit of a background playing music. I understood the sound engine really well, so it was really easy for me to just hook sounds in, and I understood enough about the level design side that I could kind of connect those things a little bit. The sounds could come from anywhere. And then I just heavily modified them. Usually those are animal sounds, reversing, changing the pitch, chopping them up and rearranging them. Head crabs were rats. The little squeaky, yeah, that's a rat slowed way, way down and then reversed.
Yeah, the DSP stuff was another cool thing that Kelly built. When you got an event, it sounded like you were an event, and that wasn't really happening, I guess, at least in Quake and other games I was playing back then.
You know, we had these huge silos, these cavernous spaces. The day they had their own echoey DSP, it made an enormous difference, right? You believe the space.
I know what DSP is. It's probably remember falling off.
Kelly tells me, oh God, Chuck Jones asked him if the characters could speak and have their mouths move. And Kelly said, that's super easy. I could just look at the audio and see if they're talking and do that. But like getting their mouth to move is stupid, he says to me. And I look, Chuck Jones told me the same thing. I told him making the mouths move was super trivially easy, but knowing when they're talking and knowing how to follow the envelope of the speech would be impossible. And Kelly and I just both looked at each other and like, oh. And so I went back to my office and he went back to his office. And I think within an hour, the characters were talking and their mouths were moving. And it was only because we sat there at lunch bitching about an animator who was 100% right.
Why are you leaving me here?
Scientist conversations, Kelly and I made that. When they're next to each other, one scientist will occasionally play a question and the other one will give him an answer. And it's not a script, you know, it just it might not always make sense.
I am rather looking forward to this analysis, aren't you? I don't think so.
But it had a bunch of personality. It was really cool. And I worked on getting those guys to look at you and turn their heads.
When we first added the ability for scientists to respond to the player and other things in the environment, I would call them response rules. The first time that went in, they came flying down the elevator, and one of them looks at you and goes, "Oh, hello, Gordon." And then they explode into a pile of jibs at the bottom.
Hello, the Automatic Diagnostic and Announcement System welcomes you to the Black Mesa Research Facility. Remember, have a secure day.
During Half-Life's first year development, those guys have been building geometry isolation. Once the cable path has been formed, they had to work together to stitch those levels into a single cohesive play experience.
I hadn't really started working on the biggest part of the game, which I ended up shipping, which was surface tension, prior to then. A lot of the work that I had done was the alien research labs, which turned into questionable ethics. And
I hated that part. I couldn't get out of that part. I got
ditched.
killed.
There were some concepts made it through, but everything was rebuilt from zero. But you know what did make it through was Power Up. Yeah, basically that geometry survived completely intact. It was so closely designed for that creature that because the creature survived, the levels survived along with it. Yeah, there's this sort of central circular thing where you have to rotate the train and you have to kill the Gargantua first because he was always defending the way out. And then you have to go to like another area which looks very much like it was designed for Quake, because pretty much it was. There was a flooded pump room and you have to drain the generator and then you can switch the power on and then you can take the train out. Yeah, I remember him being totally central to this whole thing. And then, well, how do we block the player? Which is, I mean, that's pretty much like design point number one for all level design. Okay, well, how do we prevent the player from just walking straight out through the exit? And you design backwards from there.
In the first year, we built a lot of world space, a lot of track as we call it, and the programmers would try to fit the AI into the existing maps. What we did the second year was we built the AI in very constrained environments that showcased the AI. Let's make the ideal space for the AI and then give that to the level designers to incorporate those elements into their map so that it worked better and was more interesting. And that Gargantua was an example of that. And the grunts especially.
Yeah, we had the AI that Steve had been working on, and he had designed all these interesting encounters with them just in his test map. And so he, had them up high and down low. And so basically we just kind of re-leveraged that. So, okay, let's start where the player comes in low, and there's a Marine on the same level. And then the next one, they're up high, and then they come running down. Because it was really neat to see them retreat. They'd try to run back up the stairs and try to flank you from another side.
So Steve Bond, like I mentioned earlier, was this really young guy who had been making mods in Quake C, really the designer for so much of the AI. I mean, all the stuff that's good about the soldiers, the grunts you fight in Half-Life.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a language we could sort of use to say, this is a place they can climb. This is a place they can jump to. This is a good place to hide. These are good places to go in general, or interesting places. So, the AI had a little bit of help. We were trying to build something that utilized, the train technology that Jay was working on. And we thought, well, let's give the player something that they can control, but in a limited way. We couldn't do vehicles like you see in Half-Life 2. So we did the most constrained vehicle we could think of, which was the train. Players didn't always bring the train with them. And so you had a bunch of these poor people walking down these tunnels.
Was that why you electrified the
and
rail?
And the rails, that was part of the feedback.
From that.
part of the feedback was, well, you can just bypass all that, so we made the rails electric. It's like, well, maybe that'll teach them to bring the train with them. But the basic idea is, let's explore that and then also reveal some of the hidden deep parts of the base, the abandoned areas where you might get a lot more of the Zen creatures. We had designed some of the ones that didn't make it into the game to appear there, bats that would dive bomb you and while you're on the train. Yeah, Stuka bats. And then we also tried hard to not make it feel like it was the super linear thing, so we tried to give little branches, and so there were some challenges there.
Well, there's a really good sketch that Kelly Bailey made, which basically charted surface tension, and it was pretty extensive. Like, it went through the cliffside, and it went through areas where tanks were, and like a lot of soldier holdouts.
Yeah, they don't get out of there.
Yeah, it even went through the desert with the cactuses and the helicopters, and then across a dam. It was pretty extensive. When I saw that sketch, I was so motivated to just start building all of that stuff.
So I ran ahead with a lot of level design, a lot of geometry, and it seems like a lot of it stuck in some way or another, which is really amazing. I did the dam, which was funny. I just did that in a day. Like, it was like about 4 or 5 hours. I did a Hoover Dam thing because I like the Hoover Dam.
I saw a concept of the cliffside. I think Harry Teasley built that render of the skybox. Yes. And I just thought, holy crap, this is perfect for Vertigo. Like, whatever we do here, we have to play on vertigo and like narrow little ledges and places you would like to normally dodge a grenade that you can't.
And that's the moment. That's really the big part of that level, is that reveal, and the play is kind of supports it afterward. Yeah. The helicopter comes in, you're fighting the helicopter, which is awesome.
First of all, I had a bunch of textures, and then every time I made new ones, whoever was working on the new levels would be like, "Oh, fresh textures! I'm going to use those." Somebody making another level would start using them, and I was like, "No, this is chaos. We need to restrict this." So I started naming the texture sets by the level that they were made for. I was trying to enforce some sort of like visual cohesion, and so that really ended up working.
There was one level I did, it was the introduction of the sort of the bounce pads, the alien bounce pads in the real world. Because, story-wise, like, okay, you're getting closer to hitting the alien world. So I was, well, let's get a little bit of alien world infection into the real world. So I had done it just as a visual thing. John Guthrie made it 10 times better. And that's actually where he found the photo of my daughter, because I didn't put my daughter in Gordon's locker. I hid her in like this destroyed office someplace, as a little Easter egg for myself. And John went and put my daughter's photo in Gordon's locker, which I think was a good decision.
I still get questions about stuff that I spent 5 minutes on 25 years ago from people who've now thought about this for 25 years, and they're thinking that there's 25 years worth of development went into this. I'm like, on some level, when you start talking about lore, I'm like, well, there's Black Mesa. That was just a matter, we needed a name for something that was evocative.
In that entrance, when you get off the train and there's that lobby where there's a big map on it, and when we were making that map, that was fairly early on, I put a dot in New Mexico. And then that turned into, I think Mark saw that, he was like, oh, where is that? This is where we are. And then he named it Black Mesa.
That is a favorite thing of mine, actually. If you come up with a name for something, and it evokes something, then you don't have to write the whole story. It's because it's a conspiracy plot. Everybody knows more about it than you do, so you don't have to answer those questions. You just keep raising questions and make the mystery kind of thing.
Like, dialogue came in later. Also, a lot of the scripted sequences came in later, and those helped to kind of sharpen the storytelling aspect of it, because, setting expectations to get up to the surface and then like, oh no, they're not here to help us.
The whole thing about diegetic writing, right? Like keeping the exposition in the game instead of outside the game. I give a lot of credit to Mark.
After playtests, we'd realized that maybe you need more of a dialogue cue about something.
That's when we started to do like scientists who are literally pop up in a corner and go that way. There's a few of those that we stuck in right at the end when we'd like, well, we get one more session with Hal. He can say, go down here, go around that corner.
Well, so much for the government. Their idea of containment is to kill everyone associated with the project. Judging from your hazard suit, I'd say you were part of what went wrong.
I knew Hal from San Francisco as an artist, cartoonist. He was also an animator and an actor in some science fiction movies. So when we got down to the wire, we did a bunch of voice casting and nothing was right. And I just kept thinking of Hal. And I finally just called him and said, Hal, I want you to at least talk to people here so they can hear your voice. And I got him on a speakerphone and I had a bunch of people gathered in my office. And I'm like, okay, Hal, everybody's here. And he's like, well, what would you like me to say? And everybody was like, this is him. This is the guy.
Why do we all have to wear these ridiculous ties?
Another interesting voice thing was the G-Man. So we liked Mike Shapiro's work. So we knew we wanted to use him, but we brought him in to do Barney and also the G-Man. So we did a take on all the G-Man lines with kind of a straight voice, and it was thinking that, okay, we have something safe, but we're not super excited about it, and give us something else. And he does this crazy lizard voice.
The border world, then, is in our control for the time being, thanks to you. Quite a nasty piece of work you managed over there. I am impressed.
And we took it back, and everybody just loved the crazy lizard voice, and so that's how it worked out.
Did you do the Nihilanth?
I did.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nihilanth. Just imagine his head floating in space as a baby.
Oh, that's him. That's him. I don't like you. No one laughed like that this time once the team was scrambling to get it finished.
I went into Gabe's office and I demanded Gabe to either fire Ken or I quit. And Gabe just laughed at me.
Correct response from Gabe.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Until Bill got there, I was the oldest guy there. It was hard because, I had to go home in the evenings, whereas the young guys who just moved out from Florida or wherever, they did not have to go home in the evenings. I'd go home, see my kids. When they were in bed, I would come back down the hill to Valve. Nobody else I worked with had to get up to get their kids off to school in the morning, but I did.
You're wired to just take full advantage of the situation. You put everything into it. So when we say we worked 18-hour days, that's no exaggeration.
Yeah.
And not at all. I can edit all day. I can design all day. I don't have to worry about anything. Two guys from Microsoft start a game studio with a bunch of incredibly capable, with an incredible team. You're gonna push yourself harder than ever before.
I don't usually crunch real hard. I get it done in I come in, I work, I go home, and a lot of people were living really long hours. The classic. Well, I'll come in at 1 and then goof around for a while and then work late into the late at night. I was employee 17. There was a woman that was the kind of the office manager, and eventually Mona Lisa Guthrie came in as at the desk. I was the only woman on the team. That was not awesome.
I decided to become a baseball fan here after the birth of my first daughter, so she's the one in Gordon's locker, Isabel, but she's very special needs. She's 25 today. Cognitively, she's about 3 years old. So,
I know how that is.
So after her birth, in the middle of Half-Life production, it was really hard. It was really hard because we were getting about 2 hours of sleep at a stretch because she had to be fed through a tube in her stomach every 2 hours. I had just a difficult time relating to the world when she was a baby. I had a hard time just talking to people because I was just kind of tired and angry all the time. Yeah, my wife, she worked at Valve for a while. She did a bunch of textures for the game. Like I say, she did those soda machines. She did just a bunch of level textures. She textured Big Mama, the sort of boss creature. She textured him. But when Isabel arrived, she obviously had a lot of issues. So Yachts had to stop working and stay with her at home. And it was the last year of Half-Life, and we pretty much crunched that whole year. So I was at work a lot. It was hard. It was definitely a hard year.
Games have often had this thing where they're just a little too attached to Star Wars, Blade Runner, Aliens. So it wasn't that hard to try to get people to go, let's think of something really alien. Like what Zen was initially was you're going to go inside a huge alien organism and kill it or figure out how to turn it on or off or something like that. I didn't know we couldn't actually do that or what was involved.
What does it mean to have alien architecture or a planet that's biologically defining the structures in it, as opposed to what the tools we're good at, which is making rectangles?
And then slowly it scaled back till it was more and more corridors, and that everybody was really good at.
People were finishing up stuff and I was still working on Zen because it was like it went through a lot of iteration, or at least we're trying to figure out what it was. Different people were taking swings at it, either in static
Weren't you
concepts.
under a bit of a timeline crunch for it as well?
Yeah, it was the end of the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to cut stuff out and they're like, no, leave it in. I'm
Right.
like, yeah, but I don't have any support for this.
Right.
And then after a lot of it was built, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna change the gravity and give you a jump pack. That came later. And I was like, ah.
There's a lot of stuff, especially in Zen, where you're getting close to a first draft of some things, right? Because we just didn't have time, and we got to the end of the game, and so we considered not going to Zen, but the art concepts people did were so cool.
For the Zen textures, I was deeply inspired by electron microscope imagery, and we had so much of that regular structural texture material that I wanted to do something more organic. Insects as well. I think there's a lot of textures that were based on beetles. That was really fun and incredibly challenging levels to make because that editor was not friendly for organic shapes.
I built the little behaviors for the tree that hits you if you get too close, and the light stalk that kind of hides. But Ken did a bunch of AIs there, the floating controller guys.
And the flying guys were great, but you had to set up air nodes for them to travel properly. I prototyped a lot, and some of those prototypes were used in the final battle, I believe, and also for the Gonard, which I think Randy did.
We, at some point, have to stop polishing. At some point, we have to, like, it is what it is. And if the player hasn't had fun up until that point, well, then we failed. They're not going to get to that point, so who cares? It just has to finish, and it did.
Yeah, and there's always Half-Life 2 to win them back.
I love that sensation of being alone in an alien dimension, but the experience that people really liked in the game was scientists pop up and Barney pops up and you have companions and you have this feeling of companionship around you with all the other stuff that's going on. So a lot of people miss that, which I understood, and I think if we'd had thought about the ending from the beginning, we would have figured out some ways to do that a little more.
Remember 1998 Half-Life released in video game stores around the world? That way most of the team and their families went on vacation to Mexico. Fat tacos. Big fat tacos.
Huh. I remember coming back from downtown Cabo very drunk and then running to the beach, but didn't know there was like a 6-foot retaining wall there, so I just went right over. And then I was hurting so much I slept the night where I fell. Yeah, I woke up the next morning.
I had never heard that
a really
story.
stiff neck.
Oh my God. It's a good thing you were pretty young.
I remember after we'd gone final on the game, I was home one morning, taking a shower, and my wife asked me, like, it's done. Is it any good? Is the game any fun? And I go, I don't know. Like, I hope so.
I don't think it's exaggerating by saying if any one of the crew had disappeared for a month, we wouldn't have shipped. It didn't matter who they were. Everybody was mission critical.
My inspiration from Valve, what I really took away with me was that the thing that is most important to me is what are we making? Coming in as a texture artist, you don't have a lot of expectation that you're going to get to influence that. And I was able to have quite a bit of influence on the what.
It was so fun to work with the people who were making Half-Life. The collection of people were diverse, at least like in their professional backgrounds, was kind of all over the place. And so figuring out how to work with all those people, but also just the fact that we had hired really stellar people who were good at collaborating, like the conscientious people, deeply passionate about what they wanted to create. That just was a recipe for a professionally, like, really good time.
It seems to me that one of the things that good games do is make 2 games worth of stuff and then throw away the bad game. And fortunately, like, Valve was able to do that. A lot of companies couldn't do that, but backstopped by Gabe and Mike, Valve could afford to do that.
I always have absolutely nothing interesting to say when people say, would you reflect on your legacy? Like, I really don't look back a whole lot. I'm always excited by the future, right? So to me, it's like I can look back at the things we did, but to me, they're just sort of like the stepping stones to what we're going to be able to do in the future. That's just how I'm wired, right?
I never played it. Okay, so let me show you my schedule for this week. Apologize for losing internet. I mean, I guess not much I can do about it, but hopefully this WoW stuff gets better. New to the area, so really wait and see, I guess. Tomorrow we go back to the Book of Wind and Tales. 2008 actually was 2008 fantasy adventure point and click adventure game. That's tomorrow, 2:30 Eastern. Hopefully internet will be fine. And then Thursday, we're going to do my Japanese lessons at 2:30. So come learn some Japanese with me. And then we do a watch party again. Again, hopefully internet pending. We're still watching Ultimate Muscle. I'll be streaming it on Discord, the show, and streaming my reaction every place else. So come join Discord and watch Ultimate Muscle with me. And Friday, if I have to talk with Jay Flint Media, because yesterday he talked about doing River City Ransom Underground together Friday, so I have to see if it's still on for that. That should be 2:30. That'll be cool. It'll be first time doing a co-op, a collab with the other streamer, so we'll see if that's still on. Then I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure we'll be on Friday night or not. We'll see. But usually we'll be playing Final Fantasy 14 9 p.m. So come by for that. And Saturday I'll be doing karaoke night, so please send me your karaoke requests so I can start making the playlist for that. Saturday 8 p.m. Watch this guy sing his heart out. Then of course Sunday is Sunday Fun Day with Final Fantasy 14, where I just hang out with some friends in the game. Nice chill stream. Thank you, Chris, for coming by. I know you're in bed, so I hope you're getting some rest. Thank you, Alan, for coming by as well. Let's see who we can wait, shall we? Flint on. Gaming. The cat, the games.
Go for a squid. I'm coming.
We should do someone else.
You're good.
Is it Power Play on? Power Play's on though, actually. He's always gone when I join. Every time I want to see him, he's not here. Get that? He's always like mysteriously gone.
Aqui é 30 mil. É, já não dá. Não ficou nada pra eu comprar o. Não, eu sei, mas. Tá meio carinho as tuas coisas, hein?
Did I miss him? I must have missed him. Must have missed him. Must have missed him. What? Oh. I got on through him. Probably mute him though, because I might get copyright strike. He listens to music in the background. I send you over to the Atari, the Paladin. He's a good guy on Rumble. Thank you for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, Fat Tuesday, or Mardi Gras. I hope you have a happy Mardi Gras. And I'll catch you maybe tomorrow at 2:30 for some more book of Unwinning Tales. Till then, be safe. Bye.